Hey everybody, welcome to the Bonetown podcast, and you're watching episode 4 with special guest Aaron Houzvicka. But first, a message from our sponsors. Today's sponsor is by Gooseworks. If you were able to take an ad and a marketing agency, graphic designer, and a screen printer, you'd get Gooseworks Screen Printing Studio. Proud sponsor of the Bonetown podcast. Gooseworks has been designing and printing for local Houston businesses and organizations for over 7 years. Located at 3511 Pinemont Drive, Unit C2 in the Oak Forest area. Let me bring you on right here. Where you at? Where you at? I forgot to bring you on the Instagram.
No worries.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Good. So for everybody tuning in and is not too familiar with the local music scene, my friend Aaron, he plays with a band called Skarnales, which has been, I say, a music institution in Houston.
Sure.
They've been around for 25, 26 years now. They're a local Latin punk ska group, and I call them the School of Rock. They've been how many albums have they have out now?
Dude,
Three,
too many to count.
yeah. But each album has a different lineup pretty much. So there's always been a different evolving sound.
Yeah.
And after I've been playing with them for 8 years, and then Aaron was my predecessor, I guess you can say. And after I left, and he's been holding it down, killing it. Taking the band to another level, and he also plays in various other bands. But Bayou City Funk is the other band that you play with, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, for about a year now. It's been really cool connecting with those guys.
Yeah, how long have they been around? They've been around for a good minute, right?
Yeah, a couple of years. I don't know the exact date they started. I came on late. I think I'm the youngest, just about the youngest member, the newest member in the band.
Nice.
But, yeah, I just got connected with them through Chris Valero. He plays sax in the band, and we played together at U of H.
Badass, man.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. So before we get into college stuff and whatnot, how did you go about playing trombone, man? Was it do you have music in your family, or is it kind of how did that come about?
Man, the only music in my family is my dad's guitar just sitting around for a really long time. It had no strings on it. I mean, it was just busted up, but it was always around. I always used to like to just bang on it. But as far as trombone, man, just same as everybody else in Texas, dude. Band in I guess 6th grade. I started. I tried percussion first and totally sucked. And trombone was next up, and I took it, man. But yeah, I mean, I was playing guitar for about the same amount of time. I started about 6 months after I started trombone, and it's kind of varied back and forth between the two. I really liked guitar really early on. Just learning my favorite songs and jamming was so satisfying initially, and it wasn't until high school that I really changed over and started pursuing trombone more.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
And you grew up in Dallas, right?
Yes, sir. Red Oak, Texas.
Dang, shout out Red Oak.
Yeah, man.
Don't forget your roots, bro. Don't forget your roots.
Dude, that place started out as a small town. There's one road with 9 churches on it. Now, dude, it's booming. We got a Walmart, and all of a sudden we have everything. We got Chick-fil-A, Starbucks.
Nice.
That's how you know it's a real city in Texas, if there's 3 shopping centers
and
per
a
square
Chick-fil-A.
mile. Yeah, and a
Chick-fil-A. Well, that's cool, man. And so after completing, obviously, intermediate and high school, you came to Houston, to U of H. What brought you to Houston, and what made you choose U of H?
Man, kind of. Well, I auditioned at a couple different places. Really, I really only auditioned at 2 places: University of Texas at Arlington, which was closer to my place, and U of H. And man, my style especially in high school, dude, I waited to the last audition days, the last weekend to audition. And yeah, it was really simple, man. Like I auditioned at UTA, and they asked me at the end of the audition, like, you know, what can we do to get you to come here? And I just said money, like, give me a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And they laughed. They laughed, and they said, like, you're not going to get any money anywhere. And then next day I was at U of H, and I said the same thing. And they, you know, they have a really good program in place. You know, they pay, I don't know if they still do, but they used to pay their marching band members. They pay their basketball band members, the Cougar Brass. There's tons of scholarship money available, and that was really helpful to me. So it was really just kind of blind luck that I ended up at a really great school. Really, really, I mean, I owe everything that I know now to my teacher, Mr. Kauk, Brian Kauk at U of H. Like, I mean, just what he taught me about music. Him and Noe Marmaleo. Yeah, I learned a lot of great things from them. So I'm really lucky that I came here to Houston. Not to mention, man, like meeting guys like you and just this tremendous music scene we have here, dude. It's crazy. And like you said, the you know, Skarnales Familia runs this town, dude. Like everyone, every musician has gone through there in some way or another. And man, it's great to be a part of, for sure.
Yeah, man. You know, I went to U of H just for like just a little bit, like maybe a semester or two, and but from the short time I was there, like the music program, everything there was solid, and you know, everybody that worked there was pretty cool, you know, and you know, school just wasn't for me during that time, but I really wish, you know, like, yeah, I could have stuck through it, and you know, but then again, like I didn't know I was gonna be a musician and everything. But yeah, man, Houston does have a great music scene. It's really overlooked. Houston is so big that you have to dig deep, you know what I mean, to find all that good stuff.
Yeah,
and whatnot. But yeah, man. So how did you find about Los Skarnales while you're here in town?
It's a shame because I was in my little University of Houston bubble. I hadn't heard of them at all. Kind of a latecomer to Houston, as it were. So like, I know a lot of people have known them since they were kids. Like people my age can recall their first time seeing Skarnales at some show or another. But yeah, for me, it was just my boy Sal Capone. Shout out Sal Capone.
Yeah, what's up?
He's had my back since the beginning, and it was a situation where I think Simon Kaufman.
Oh yeah, shout out Simon.
Yeah,
that's my boy.
Yeah, he was the connection between Jose Rodriguez, another shout out. The legend. But kind of reached out to Sal saying that they were looking for a trumpet player, and Sal just, I mean, we were playing in Metanoia already. We were playing with those cats, the punk cats, Metanoia, and he just knew I liked the music. He knew I liked punk and ska, and he just told me, "Hey, man, they're looking for a trombone player," and I had no idea if that was true or not. I kept asking him, "Oh no, I lost you on."
Yeah. But that's weird. We'll just stick to Instagram for right now.
Yeah, we're on the gram. Hold on a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sick. All right. So, yeah, man, like, I had no idea if it was true or not. I kept asking him, like, dude, are they really looking for a trombone player or just a trumpet player? He wouldn't tell me straight up. But, yeah, man, it was really cool. I remember that first rehearsal. There was, like, 30 people in that room.
Yeah.
and you and John were so nice right away. Like, I was really nervous, man, but everyone was really nice, especially you and John. And, yeah, I mean, you know, Felipe and Nestor, they're real welcoming.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, but, no, man, it was just crazy, dude. Those early days, every Monday, there'd be like 20, 30 people in that room just drinking and chilling with us while we practiced. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was always a party. No matter if it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I love it, man. That's cool. Yeah, I remember y'all coming in and you know, because man, I remember when I first started. You know, I went in not knowing any of the music. I didn't even practice any of it. and I
Yeah.
was just like, oh shit, like what did I get myself into? Like, and but then again, it was it was punk rock, man. Like no one really gave a shit,
Yeah.
and I mean they wanted to sound good, but
You just got to fit the vibe, man. That's
oh
the only
yeah,
thing that matters.
definitely.
Just fit
Uh,
the roots.
yeah, man. But it was always fun playing with them. Hey, Jocelyn, can you do me a favor real quick? Can you restart this laptop? It's frozen. Um, but how long have you been playing with them now? So it's been probably 8. No, how long? 6 years now?
I want to say because there was just our first show was in April, so that just came up on the social medias as a flashback. I think it was 5 or 6, man. It was definitely at least 5. It's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Flown by like crazy, man. Like we were babies when we joined.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did see that picture. Yeah, y'all look like babies, dude. You didn't have any of this, and
I mean that was probably the last time I shaved my face. Was yeah, man.
That's
How
funny.
old were you when you joined?
Yeah. How old were you?
Ooh,
When you joined?
I was 21.
Okay, cool.
Oh, they used to have to get Michael into the shows.
Yeah,
He was only 19.
when I joined, I was like I was 19 going on 20, and our first gig was at Continental Club, and it was 21 and up. And I remember Felipe trying to sneak me in through the back, and he was just telling the door guy at the time. I think it's the same guy, but I don't want to say names. Uh, but yeah, Felipe was like, "Yeah, don't talk," and I was like, "Okay." And so like the guy's like, "What are you doing, Felipe?" He's like, "Oh, this is my cousin from Mexico. He doesn't speak much English. He's gonna play with us." And it was just me and Jocelyn, like just walked in, and he X'd my hands and everything, and but yeah, it was I'll never forget that time for
That's
sure,
hilarious.
man. Yeah.
We had Nico Martinez in the band.
Oh yeah, man.
Like,
Shout out Nico. Love that kid.
yeah, man, he's always guilty, right? In Scott's, but yeah, he had to wait outside. They wouldn't let him in the shows, especially when we went to California. He just had to wait outside unless we were playing. It was so rough, man. That's kind of whack.
We used to go watch Nico.
Yeah, and then yeah, back in the day when Nico was he was like little. We used to go to White Swan, and I think White Swan's still around. But yeah, we used to go watch him when he was playing with Always Guilty
Yeah.
at White Swan, man. Good times, dude. So, how did you get in touch with Bayou City Funk uh, and I believe you're recording or releasing something new pretty soon?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, getting in touch with them was just real simple. Like, just knew Chris Valero, the bari sax player, for a long time. Played with him in school.
Mm-hmm.
They had already been working really hard on a lot of music. They already have, one album out on Spotify from like a year or two ago, and yeah, when I came in, they had just recorded a new single called
Yeah.
Duncan's. Crazy tune, and but man, I kind of wasn't looking. Well, I didn't know these guys very much, and I was kind of thinking, I don't know if I want to join a band. It's a lot of commitment to join a band like that that's doing mostly originals and trying to take care of like doing brand new things that no one's ever heard of before. I mean, there's a lot of rehearsal time, and I just wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do. But man, the first rehearsal was so killer. I had so much fun playing with these guys. They're real funky and just cool dudes to hang out with. Monster players, and yeah, we do have. We just released one single on Spotify called "There for You." It's a really cool track. The singer Sean Garrison, he wrote it about his father, and it's just a really sweet track, really heartfelt music. And we worked with Josh Appleby on these next couple tracks.
Josh.
Yeah, man, it's always great working with that dude. He's a monster. But yeah, we got 2 more coming too. Not too far away. We got
Nice.
Sorry, I'm trying to hook back up.
No, you're good, man.
Yeah, we got 2 more coming out. So I mean, people can go follow Bayou City Funk on Instagram and Facebook. I mean, those are going to be released here in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome,
Yeah.
man. That's badass. And so, besides those two bands that you played with, you mentioned Metanoia. Are you still playing with them, or are they? And they're still playing. I saw that they were released a new song.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I recorded on that track. They're gonna release an album soon, I think. But yeah, no. I, was hanging out with Christina and Sal when that band got started. Kind of one of the first main members of that band. Something I'm really proud of, man. We were just some punk kids starting a new band, and they're still doing some great things. But yeah, I don't play with them right now. I play some shows here and there. I played with them, I think, like 6 months ago at a show Christina put on.
Nice.
It's always, man, that's like a real release. That's like, who cares what anyone thinks kind of thing. We just show up and play that ass, and I mean, it's all just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. And that's one thing I feel like, especially to the youngsters that are watching or going to watch this later on. It's cool. Everybody's always like, how do you start a band or whatever? I mean, you just vibe with people that you're around, that you like to be around, that you can play with. You have the same mentality, I guess you can say, and you just jam. It's kind of like, things might not work out like in the long run, but you're developing, and it's just fun to to experiment. That's the time to experiment for sure, and it's cool to like I said, vibe with them and create these hopefully long lasting relationships and everything and whatnot. And because like you said, you met them like at U of H.
Yeah.
And you still talk to them nowadays and still jam with them and stuff. So that's cool, man. That's badass.
Yeah.
I think it's important, especially for, like I said, the young kids that they don't know what to do or how things get started and stuff like that. That's
well,
cool.
It's cool that you said experiment, man. Like every great music, every great band started as an experiment. Like one of my favorite examples is a band I don't really like all that much, but just a great example of starting as kind of an experiment, not knowing where it's going to go, and then ending up being superstars is like Red Hot Chili Peppers, man. Like,
oh yeah,
it was pretty chaotic, man. They were just kind of experimenting, seeing what happens, and they're one of the biggest bands of our time, of our generation. But like, yeah, all great music was an experiment at one point, and you learn a lot of lessons that way. It's pretty rough, but it's
definitely
always a learning experience.
Yeah, it's definitely rough and at the beginning. But that's the thing too, is you keep grinding, and eventually just don't get discouraged. That's for sure. Because I know when I was younger, and even now, like if I don't see progress like that, I get discouraged, and I'm just like, man, fuck this, I'm done. But the important thing is like, yeah, you might sound like shit at the beginning, but you're hashing things out. You're still experimenting and whatnot, and not to get discouraged. And I still remind myself at 30, I'm 32 now, and I still remind myself, like, bro, you can't run unless you learn how to walk. You know what I mean? It can be frustrating at times, but it happens to everybody.
Man, I mean, that, like, when we started Metanoia, there was so many haters around me. Everyone was like, I mean, people, when you say, like, I started a band with my friends, like, people are going to be like, oh, cool, man, like, whatever. You really do have to kind of prove yourself, and but more importantly, you just have to forget about them. They're most of the time just jealous that you're having more fun than they are. Really, making music with your friends. Like, they wish they could do that too. They're jealous of that. But that makes me curious. Like, when the Suffers was just starting, like, everyone talks about when their band just started, and they played shows when no one was there, and they weren't getting all that love, right? Like, was that how y'all started? I mean, y'all were really established in the scene already, so I'm sure y'all had a lot of fans already.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Yeah, there was times where we played and there was like nobody there. There was like 5 people there. Because at that point we were just just still like doing like the reggae rock steady like cover band thing, and it got to a point where we were filling in at Fitzgerald's, R.I.P. Fitz. They had Reggae Wednesdays, and I guess like the band that had been
like the resident band every Wednesday. I forgot who it was, but Indigenous. It was, I don't remember. No, it was somebody else. But they couldn't make it for like a week or two. I don't know what happened, but we filled in, and there was like literally like 6 people, and it was fun. It was just fun to go out on a weekday night, jam. It was more like a practice. You know what I mean? And brings for dinner. That's right, Nick.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
But yeah, it was fun. I mean, yeah, and then there was times like where, you know, it was always like that at the beginning, and then we did some residencies at Continental Club, same thing.
Yeah.
But then when we started to tour, of course, no one knew who we were.
Yeah.
And and there was like 30 people and stuff like that. I mean, shit, we did after we did Letterman. I forgot where we played after, but we played at a show, and it was with the Tauntauns, and there was 5 people there. And after we did that, and it was kind of like, it kind of brought everybody back down, to like, dude, don't get, you're full in your head or something like this. That definitely kept us to be, humble and just like, you know what, we did that. That's cool. Let's move on. Like, it's over with kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's cool to hear. I mean, I bet there's a lot of younger musicians out there that really need to hear that. I mean, especially like it really doesn't matter. Like it could be anything. I mean, like big sports games, you book a show out like a month in advance, and then you realize like, oh man, that's like the NBA finals.
Yeah.
Right? And it's in Houston this year or whatever. Like, I mean, and then like no one's at your show out of nowhere. I mean, just anything like that. I know Nestor tells a story. I think you were probably in the band when this happened, but about y'all being in New Orleans when the Saints were in the Super Bowl, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think was it Super Bowl or I don't remember, but yeah, I remember being there. Yeah.
Just what it is, man. It's you never know.
Yeah. And I think Nick at the time filled in for Pat, and I mean, and for everybody listening, like a lot of the Suffers, we were all in Los Skarnales at one point, and we started the Suffers as a side group, just to keep playing and get some side gigs after, and but yeah, I remember Nick filling in for Pat at that point, and I think it was playoffs, that's what it was, and conference finals, during 49ers. I was wearing my Texans jersey, and Nick had his jersey, and I remember walking down Bourbon Street and people just talking shit, dude. Just because I'm like, dude, I don't even know you, but okay, like whatever. But it was fucking crazy during that time. Everybody's just like getting hammered. I mean, what else is new? But it was just like you could feel the energy from like in the city of where that team was from, and everybody was just getting all hyped about it. And speaking of we both of us, we've had the pleasure of traveling with Los Skarnales.
Yeah.
And that's one cool thing about being in a band that's kind of like known outside of Texas as well as the traveling.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite place that Los Skarnales has taken you so far?
Spain, man. We were so lucky to get to go to Spain last year for Pueblos Blancos Music Festival. That was the coolest, man. Like, I mean, it's just that was one of those things where, because there's been, well, whatever. It's one of those things you don't believe it until you're on the plane, right? You're getting there, like, so like we knew for like months that we were, on the bill or whatever, but then it becomes like affording it, getting everything ready, getting over there. No one in the band had ever been to Europe at all before. So, well, except for Chopper. Chopper had done it when he was like 22 or whatever. But yeah, man, I mean, that was crazy. And like, just what a great experience, because that festival, we were all in the same city, like 15 or 20 bands from mostly Texas, but there was some European bands there too. We were all just in the same little village, and we would all travel out to different cities in groups, and then come back and then have a jam session afterwards. So man, I mean, we were they all take siestas around like 2 or 3 where like everything shut down.
Yeah.
That's exactly when we would wake up every morning, just because like we would, wake up at 2 or 3, which I mean was normal time for us, but like
Yeah.
back home, right? But
Yeah.
playing a show in some other village, doing crazy stuff. Like, I mean, we were lucky enough to get booked in a city when they did the running of the bulls the same day we were there. It's like a once a year thing. So like that was totally lucky. And then
Did y'all
coming
get to
back,
see that?
what's up?
Did y'all get to experience that?
Yeah, dude, Chewy Tarazis, man, he was out there running with the saxophone. He had his saxophone. He was like, people were telling him, "Hey, man, that's probably not a good idea." And he had like dress shoes on. We were getting ready to play a show like right after the Bulls were back in, or outside the city. We were gonna play a show, but he was like, "I have to get a picture of me holding my saxophone," and he had his other hand on the rope that was pulling the bull through the city.
Oh,
man,
God.
I mean, he was crazy. We most of us were kind of behind some barriers, and at one point, like, this bull just rammed himself into the barrier. It was pretty crazy. I mean, it was a party for sure. Everyone was drinking pretty heavily, all the locals and stuff.
Yeah, man. Spain was great, man. Mexico with Los Skarnales is always fun, man.
No, that's always fun because they have family, like friends and fans who have become family from just all the years of being out there and hanging out. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, again, for those that don't know, the ska scene in Mexico has never died. If anything, it's just like grown even more and more over the years. And every time Skarnales has gone to play, super either small venue. If it's a small venue, it's packed, sold out, or you're playing in an arena with thousands of people.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude. And shoot, like I just remember all the times hanging out with them, going to and playing, and just all the partying. Like it was fun, man. And like, yeah, everybody that I've met because of the band, super cool people, man. Really nice. And like you're saying, it's like been like almost like a extended family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And but I'm trying to remember this what did we do this one time? Man, there's just so many stories.
And they all run together, don't they?
Yeah, and then everybody in LA, shout out to all the LA family.
Yeah, real.
Yeah, dude, real. I love that guy, man. What a story, bro.
Dude, that was my first trip, really. I had barely played any shows in town. I had played like one show in San Antonio, one show in Austin. We were in California. I mean, I barely even drank at the time, but Real's the man, and he always puts us up at his crib.
Yeah.
And man, it's just super tight there. So all the guys are coming back from the show and partying, and Real makes his own tequila.
Yeah.
So like, man, he made me take a few shots of that. Didn't make me. I mean, he wasn't like forcing me. I was pretty ready for it. But yeah, man, that didn't go down very well for a 21-year-old Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right, dude. It's always a party, and like, I mean, Mexico, Vegas, like those places is when it really gets amplified. But dude, like, we'll play, rest in peace, Fitz. We'll play Fitz. And they'll party just as hard.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
For real. And dude, and I miss Fitzgerald so much. And again, for everybody that is not aware, Fitzgerald's was a music venue here in Houston. That it was pretty much the place to play, no matter what kind of genre, no matter how old you were at the time. Like if you were in high school, starting out in a band, that was the place to go to experiment, like we were talking about, to get your stage presence, learn how to be a band on stage and whatever. And it was like an institution to go and play at. Unfortunately, it's not around anymore. But yeah, like I remember the first time playing at Fitzgerald's. I mean, I used to go to Fitzgerald's when I was a kid. I mean, when I was in high school. Actually, that's where I first saw Los Skarnales. Yeah. They were opening up for the Toasters.
Ooh, yeah.
And I was playing downstairs with a band I was in high school called Edgebrook, and we were, rip off Less Than Jake. but one of my favorite bands. But yeah, man, you know, that was the place to go. So for me, playing in Skarnales at Fitzgerald's at a place I grew up going to was like a dream thing for me. And it was just like, what, dude? I can't believe I'm doing this. And then, but yeah, man, that place, man, I miss that place, dude.
That was my first show too when I came to Houston. The first show I saw was Streetlight Manifesto there.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome, man.
You're probably
Did you ever, I don't know if you were around, I don't think so, a venue called the Meridian?
No.
Yeah, that was a cool place. I saw Catch 22, Streetlight, Slackers, and outside of, so it sounds like it sounds, you know, I know because we hung out, but a lot of your musical influences, it sounds like, you know, we've all had similar influences of music growing up, like the punk ska, like, you know, genres. Outside of that, like, what kind of musical influences do you have, or did you have outside of all the ska punk scene?
No, man, for me, I think it was mostly always about trombones and brass. Like, I mean, I listen to punk because I like good lyrics. I like a good message. And I was really like listening to bands like Propagandhi and Bad Religion was really it would really scratch that itch for me. So there
Yeah.
wouldn't be horns in that as much. But besides that, like jazz, hip hop, again for the midge, but brass wise, I'm just always listening to good trombone players and brass players. So like Wycliffe Gordon, trombone shorty, is the man. But yeah, I mean, like that's a lot of the reason why I like ska music so much, just because not just front and center for the horns, but also kind of in a punk rock way where you don't have to be like shredding like Wycliffe Gordon or shredding like trombone shorty. You can just play your language and your style and tone quality, things like that don't matter quite as much. I mean, that's what's really cool for me is just kind of picking up your axe and playing it.
Yeah.
I appreciate the earthiness of that.
Yeah, and it's cool too to like, you know, find a type of music outside of, you know, jazz and classical. I know I talked a little bit with Ogechi about, you know, music and stuff like that. How like, you know, when in school, you know, yeah, you learn your classical and your jazz, but you want to venture outside of all that, and because, you know, kids, they don't realize you can play your horn outside of those kind of genres.
Yeah.
And it's important to learn the history and learn everything on the, you know, where music came from and stuff like that. But it's also important to know, like, hey, look, this is not the end of the road for this. You know, you can take it and, you know, you can play for Kanye, you can play for, you know, wherever you want, man. There's no limit. And I think that's really cool. And just, you know, to stretch the boundaries of, like, you know, trombone, because I mean, when I grew up, I always was like, you know, my cousin always, you know, played jazz, and I never was really, you know, into jazz. You know, I don't know what it was about it. I just didn't like it at the time. It took some time for me to learn to be like, oh yeah, this is cool. Like I can listen to it. I appreciate it now. It takes I guess maturity level of it and stuff like that. But
yeah, just like beer and coffee. I mean, like,
yeah,
you just gotta let it settle for a while before you get into it.
Wait, one second. But
You make the face. Oh, there it goes. It wasn't there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, yeah, you definitely learn how to, yeah, especially with drinking too, and coffee. If you're not into coffee, I fucking love coffee. But yeah, man. So as speaking of, you know, trombone shorty, I feel like a lot of your sound, you know, has a lot of influences from trombone shorty. Like I can hear that in there, and I love it, by the way. You also do some videos. You're starting to, you know, to arrange music as well, right?
Yeah.
Did you learn arranging in school at U of H? No,
Hell
just
no,
on your
dude.
own.
Yeah, man. I mean, so it's been something I've been doing since I was in high school. Like as soon as I found Finale on a computer, I was like,
Mhm.
before I knew what I was doing at all, I was composing and arranging. And honestly, I think my music was a lot better before I learned what I was doing.
Yeah, yeah,
But I mean, like other than that, really, like I'm not doing anything too complicated. It's easy because I'm doing it all for trombone, but
yeah, yeah,
just so I can play it. It gets more complicated when you add more instruments. But at the end of the day, it's just like only thing you have to know is you have to be able to hear it, hear. Like with doing the pop music, it's been really cool because I get to like really dig into it, and there's so many layers to production. Like there's so many things that you don't really hear, but you kind of feel.
yeah.
But once you start listening for it, it just pops out at you, and you just start digging into those layers and
Mhm.
deconstructing it. So like once you can hear that, then it's just like, I mean, you just got to know how high or low you can play, and then
Yeah,
it's easy
yeah.
enough from there. But yeah, I mean that's something that, like I said, I've been doing for a while and didn't really have time or patience to do it until we've been at home for like 5 weeks now. So
Mhm.
that's been kind of a blessing in disguise for sure, just having that extra time to pursue that. But I like doing the pop music that I don't normally listen to, but I hear on a lot.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, just definitely want to connect with younger students and with more like broad spectrum, that's hard to say, broad spectrum audiences and listeners, like kind of pulling them into what a trombone can sound like. I think that's
yeah.
really important. Like, I don't know about you, but growing up, I watched a lot of like Paul the Trombonist and Christopher
Oh,
Bell
yeah.
videos. Like that was like when I was in middle school and high school, just kind of looking for an excuse to like the trombone, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
we're just kind of in band, and
yeah,
I think it's not that cool to be in band in middle school or high school. Um,
yeah.
it was, I mean, you learn that it's cool, but at first you're
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
kind of put off about it. But like seeing those guys put up those videos and just having something to look forward to, like if I keep practicing, I can do this one day. So
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah, I like how you say that. Like, it's not cool. Everybody thinks it's not cool, but I mean, I think the cool thing is now there are musicians that are making that cool.
for
Like
sure,
for instance, Trombone Shorty,
yeah,
like that guy, like everybody loves that dude.
yeah,
He just has like, not only is he a badass musician, on top of that, there's something about him that he just has that swag.
yeah,
Like just in his personality, the way he dresses and everything. I know it's just him. That's just how he is.
yeah,
And but and a lot of your playing has to do with like your personality and whatnot. And but yeah, you can make it cool for sure. And I feel like we need more people like him, to so well we don't need it, but if I feel like if we show kids or the younger kids like, look, man, you can be in band, it doesn't matter, like
yeah.
like who cares kind of thing of what everybody else is thinking. And I think that's the big thing, like who cares, dude? Like you're making music, look what you can do with it,
Yeah.
just have fun with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean everyone's kind of got a sound they're looking for in their head. Like if you're
Mhm.
scrolling through Spotify and you're just listening to track after track, and you're just I I mean I don't know if everyone feels that, but I remember feeling that at a really young age. Like I really wanted something with a lot of bass and snare when I was listening to punk rock music. I really just wanted the to get. I just wanted that all the time, the whole song, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like so I would search for that like really, really hard. I mean, I think everyone has that. And I think one cool thing about Trombone Shorty is bringing it to the mainstream. He's not trying to play any specific genre. He's just kind of playing
Yeah.
what he hears in his head and his sound. And you said we need more people like him, right?
Yeah.
But I think like whoever's watching this and listening to this, we need more people like you with your voice and your specific talents. Like
Mhm.
we just need more people to feel like they can create freely.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely, man. And everybody has a different voice, and that's what makes everybody unique. And I forgot who I was talking to with that, you know, because there's times where I'm like, okay, I want to sound like so and so,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's good, to have that goal, but also you want to have your sound as well. You know what I mean? And it's also hard to chase that person if they're like super fucking good,
No, seriously, like I just did that transcription of trombone shorty solo on Shortyville, and like that taught me one main lesson, which is like stop transcribing trombone shorty, because like there was a point where I was doing that, and I just like 3 days in a row, I just could not, like I just felt like I could not play it, and I mean, then there was a point where I had played it so much that like I was like, man, I got this solo right where I want it. Like it's right there.
Yeah.
I just gotta get the right take. And that kind of chase was really cool. Like you just said, chasing these guys' sound, like it is a chase. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
always kind of my teacher always referred to the boxing ring. Like you just gotta stay in the ring. You gotta keep your gloves up and just keep fighting, because like even if you feel like like that solo kicked my ass, or if you walk off stage like not feeling good about your playing, man, it's like you got to put all that aside and just remember that it's all about the process of creating and being a person with a voice and making musical decisions. Like you just got to remind yourself,
Yeah.
like I'm not a robot. I don't
Yeah.
play good or bad. I just play. Like I put music out there. That it's really easy to be super critical of yourself, like every step of the way. You just got to
Definitely,
forget
man.
about that.
There's hundreds of times where I've walked off stage where it's like, dude, like what the hell, like and but the cool thing is, listening back to everything, because nowadays everybody has videos on Instagram or post up something, and so at least I'm able to go back and listen to some things from the crowd perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm able to be like, really hope this came out great, or it came out good. And then, of course, after beating myself up, I look at that. I see a video of exactly where I was thinking, and it sounded fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I guess you're playing the same song over and over. Like you can start to like hear the very small little things that no one else, and no one else can hear it except for you, because you play it every night or whatever.
Dude, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because me and Sal with Skarnales, man, like we've always felt like we're really tight together, and like when we're at shows, I feel like we're kind of stupid. We're like all over the stage and just like always moving around, never sitting still, and I think it's just contagious from seeing Nestor and Felipe doing the same.
Yeah.
But like we just can't help but like always move, and really it's when we start standing still that it's like what are we doing here? Like it starts to get weird, like we're on stage and we're not moving. But at the same time, I really try not to listen back to YouTube clips of us playing live with Skarnales, because it's never good, man.
No.
I like to blame the camera person, like, you got the wrong moment of the song, but
Yeah.
it really is just because our approach to playing is very different than you and John. And I just want to say that we also look at y'all's YouTube videos of Skarnales and the Suffers, and like you guys are never dirty. You guys are always so tight and so clean, and that I think is. So like for me, like that is what I look for. Like I really want to be that clean, while still, staying true to how I want to play. But like I want to be that clean. You guys have always been an inspiration for that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Like there was times though at the very beginning when I was playing with Skarnales, because at that point I actually gave up playing trombone for like a year, I think it was, and the only reason I joined was I was like, you know what? I love this band. I've seen them back in the day. Like, if I make it, cool. If not, I'm done playing. And somehow, they were all like, yeah, we keep playing with us. And I'm like, okay, that sounded like crap. And then, but yeah, there was times where I've seen videos, and at the time, because you had some liquid courage in you, and I'm like, okay, I'm going for it. I'm gonna go for it. I don't care. And like later on, you listen back, and you're all like, oof, man, that sounded nasty.
Yeah, dude, I feel you. And so for me, it's like I as a musician, I'm like, I wish no one would record while we're playing live, because for me, it's really about that moment. And like moment goes by like that. But the truth, the reality, right, is that people want to remember that show, so they take videos. It's a huge compliment. So
Yeah, it is.
so like the selfish part of my expectation is like, yeah, that moment happened and it's over and I can look past it. Especially, you know, if I'm drinking, which
Yeah,
usually with
yeah.
Skarnales you are, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it will live forever. It's something you got to think about, especially when you're in a rock band or I mean, even I mean, it doesn't matter. Pop music in general, like you're doing probably a few solos in a show, and
Hmm.
you want to balance the solo being tight and like almost rehearsed, and then
Hmm.
kind of your creative side too, and you want to have that balance. Like, you know, the truth is that a lot of the great trombone players we listen to, you were listening to Big Sam. Man,
Hmm.
what a sound and what a player, dude! But like when you play those songs over and over again, you know what sounds good, and you usually just stick with those 5 or 6 licks. Or I mean, for those guys, don't get me wrong, like they got
Oh
hundreds of
yeah,
licks, thousands of
yeah,
licks, but you stick with something that's gonna balance that safety and that creativity in that moment. Like you're not like that's what I was doing wrong the whole time. I was like always thinking I had to play something brand new every time, and then I end up sounding like shit. Like
yeah.
it's just not worth it.
Like, yeah, I mean, I get like that too. Like at sucker shows, when you're on tour, I mean, you're playing, day after day after day, and sometimes, yeah, I want to experiment on something, but
Mhm.
you don't want to sound like shit, and
Yeah.
so I have my set solos, but I've been trying to change them up because I know people that they've seen us several times at this point, and you want to keep it fresh, you want to keep things interesting, and you want the fans to hear the song that they like, but even with the small tweaks to it, that it could feel
Yeah.
brand new for them, and
Exactly.
I think that's one thing that's definitely positive about this whole pandemic staying at home thing is I've actually got to dissect certain things and be all like, you know what, maybe I can. This is a good time to shed a new solo, write a new solo, and just kind of practice it to the point where it doesn't sound too rehearsed or you know it doesn't sound too rehearsed, but it also is something new
Yeah.
that will for me and for everybody else. Because at the same time, once you start playing the same things, it can be pretty robotic and doesn't feel like it doesn't have that same feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you just, I mean, bottom line is you just got to stay true to the music, like whatever the music tells you at that moment. But,
Hmm.
and then I think, man, but I think what it is, dude, with like these rock bands that we play with, like the moment always feels so like, just, it always feels like it's at 11 every moment until the
Oh
show's
yeah,
over, right? So you're like, you're always getting pushed, like, man, I think I can do it. Like your brain is always telling you, like, go a little farther, go play a little higher, play a little louder, play a
yeah,
little
dude.
faster.
Yeah, man. And but it's fun to try it anyway. If you fuck up, you fuck up, and
Yeah,
I've been trying to learn how to just like take more risk. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And because also too, you won't know if you're able to do it unless you're put in that situation.
for sure.
And being put in uncomfortable situations, especially for me, I mean, I hate it. I always that's one thing. I've always been like kind of like a shy person
Mhm.
and to myself, and playing, and everybody's like, why are you playing in a band? And because you're in front of all these people. But I'm like, but I'm with my friends, it's different.
Yeah,
But being put in uncomfortable situations all the time does help you grow,
dude,
and
totally. Everything
yeah.
I've learned in music came from me. Like, I mean, so I'm the same way, man. Like, in a social setting, like, no, like, don't put me in any weird spots. I don't want to meet new people. Like, just let me be. Like, for instance, like, I'm just thriving staying at home for the last few weeks, man. I'm just like in my zone. I'm creating in my space, like, not my space, but
Yeah,
my space.
yeah.
Like, I love that, dude. But musically, you don't get anything unless you're taking risks all the time, man. Like, I mean, every single time I've gone to a gig, like not knowing what to expect, I'm always actually like way more prepared when I'm thinking like, dude, I don't know what I'm gonna walk into right now. I know one guy who called me for this one gig. I'm showing up, right? And like, I don't know the rest of the bands. I don't know the tunes, you know. But like, that's when I'm like listening and like warming up like crazy, like days before, because, you know, you just want to be confident. You want to be prepared and feel good when you're walking into those crazy situations. Like, I mean, for instance, Los Skarnales, like, I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea. I mean, from the outside looking in, not knowing anything, man, like a punk ska band, right? And mostly speaking Spanish in their songs, like I was thinking like, man, I'm going to be so out of place here. It's going to be crazy. So I prepared my ass off for that rehearsal and show up, and you guys are just super nice and super friendly and familiar. Like, I mean, that was a blessing for sure. But like, I really prepared a lot for that rehearsal.
Yeah, and I think it's important to you know, we weren't being nice just to be nice. I mean, that's just how we are because you know, and because also too the music thing, it's cool. You learn a lot of things musically, but you also I've learned a lot of life lessons just playing in these bands. I always treat people how I want to be treated. If I was put in that situation, I want to be all like, hey, look, man, it's going to be cool, you know, because especially if you're coming into a group that's been established for a while, you don't know anybody except you, at least you said you knew Sal.
Right.
And so at least it kind of helps having somebody, you know, and, but just being, you know, nice to one of each other, because, you know, because also too, because I still care about that band. And to a point where I didn't, you know, I felt bad that we were leaving them without anything. And I was like, nah, we're not leaving until we make sure y'all have somebody, you know, set in place. And as soon as we heard y'all play, we're all like, okay, cool. Like, y'all are going to be good. Like we knew that, you know, yeah, it sounded a little rough. It always sounds rough at the beginning, but but I would hear videos along the way, and I could just hear y'all progress, and I was just like, thank God, you know, like they made the right choice in getting y'all, and but yeah, I think it's always, you know, good to, you know, treat everybody, you know, like I said, the way you want to be treated, especially you're in a band, and because like how are you going to get anything done? It's a team effort, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's one thing I feel like sometimes that's not talked about in musical education a lot. Is it's a team effort. It just, you know, it's almost, I don't like to put sports and, you know, ideals into like, you know, band stuff, but I really think that it's a team effort. Everybody plays together. Everybody knows where they're at, you know, like level wise, volume wise, and, you know, but yeah, I think it's pretty tight how like all these things you learn along the way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you create good friends and, you know, people that you can bond with over like a span of time and talk about our experiences like this, you know what I mean?
Man.
It's cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like that's the number one thing to remember is like music is just like, I mean, for me, like music is my life, and like you said, learning those life lessons, like everything in music is a lesson for life. Like, I mean, and likewise, everything you learn in life can be totally applied to your music, you know, making. Like, like for me, like man, when I was in college, I skipped every class. I was late everywhere. But like through music, now I get so stressed out if I'm like not going to be 10 or 15 minutes early to something. Cause like I've shown up late to gigs and gotten my ass handed to me, you know? And like I will never do that again. Like that'll never be me. And if it is, it's for an honest reason. And no one will have any reason to think that I'm making something up, right? Because I want to show people regularly that they can count on me. And like, that's a life lesson right there. Like, but I totally learned it because I showed up late to a gig one time, and you know, it'll never happen again.
Yeah. With another group that you play with, what is the salsa band you play with?
So man, I saw Lucio join the Graham.
Yeah,
a few minutes ago.
Samaru, right?
Yeah, summer room. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
so I played with Roy Chapa in Kaye Swing first. That was my
Okay.
first swing at salsa music. Man, I mean, what a learning experience right there. Like, there's so much language to it. I mean, it's similar to jazz and classical. I mean, even funk music. Like, there is a language, and you really have to speak that language. Like,
Hmm.
playing your funk licks doesn't work in salsa. Playing your bebop licks doesn't work in funk that well. I mean, it can, but you want to stay true to the art form and to the language. And walking into it with no prior experience, I've listened to lots of Willie Colon, especially. Like I said, it's all about the trombone for me. So like,
Yeah.
but yeah, like playing with Roy, uh, man, that was like he always teaches me a lot. And just hearing him play and watching him lead a band.
Hmm.
It's a great band, and he always teaches me a lot. And then Lucio, a couple months ago, well, I mean, he lets me sub for him when he can't make it to a summer room gig. And man, after my first gig with them, I was like, dude, they'll never call me again. But I'm really blessed every time I get to play with those guys. That's a amazing band with. And all those guys, like, they know the language, they know the material so well, and that, like, just again listening to my left, to my right, straight ahead of me where the percussion is, like if I can isolate any one of those players, like I'm learning something from what they're doing in every moment. I mean, it's such a unique experience every time I get to play with them.
That's awesome, man. Well, it's about that time, Aaron.
All
And
right, man.
before I let you go, is there anything you like to like promote?
Check out my YouTube channel if you want to hear some trombone pop arrangements. Hopefully, like I took the week off this week, but I'm definitely gonna keep posting a lot. Um, that's it. I am working on original music. I don't have a date for that to come out, but I have about 4 songs that I'm hoping to release within the next 2 or 3 months. So just if you want to follow me, look me up on Instagram, out Houzvicious. And man, let me just thank you, Razo, for having me on, and you and John too. I want to shout out John Durbin, who's right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
you
big-
guys, one, like I said a billion times, super nice guys, immediate friends, right? As soon as you meet anybody, you're friends with them. But you guys have been really helpful on Instagram, like sharing and commenting, and I really love that community
Yeah.
of musicians like helping each other out and spreading those positive vibes. Really
Yeah, man.
appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no problem. Dude, friends forever, bro. Pat. All right,
Sick,
man. Well,
man.
thank you again, bro. I appreciate it. We're going to have to do this again.
For sure. Thanks, Razo.
All
Peace,
right.
guys.
Later, man.
Our homies at Gooseworks are trying to help local Houston musicians in need during this pandemic. To help out, they designed and printed a shirt that they're selling on their website. 50% of the proceeds will be going to the Houston Art Alliance, who is raising funds to help out-of-work musicians. Go to gooseworksart.com to get yours and help out-of-work musicians today.